Hi boys and girls. This evening this video is going to teach you a little bit about equivalent fractions. Here are some key words and definitions that I would like for you to write on your guided practice sheet. Fraction, a part of a whole or part of a group. Equivalent fractions, fractions that have the same value but the parts of the whole are different sizes. So if you would pause this video and write the words and definitions on your guided practice sheet. Let's look at some equivalent fractions. This picture shows you that 1/2 is equivalent or equal to 2/4. They both have the same value, but the size of the pieces are just a little bit different. These are also equivalent fractions. This picture shows you that 2/3 is equivalent to 4/6. I want you to take notice at how these numbers are relating to each other. Alright, look at this picture. It is showing us 3/4. I would like for you to pause the video and look at your fraction bar sheet. Can you find fractions that are equivalent to 3/4? So go ahead and pause the video and I will be right back with you. Alright, here are some that I found. I found that 3/4 is equivalent to 6/8 and it's also equivalent to 9/12. Did you find these? Did you find any other ones? Alright, go ahead and pause the video again. Look at your fraction bar sheet and see if you can find a fraction that is equivalent to 4/10. I found that 4/10 is equivalent to 2/5. They're taking up the same amount of space, their value is the same, but the size of the pieces are a little bit different. Now we're not always going to have our fraction bars or our fraction bar sheet, so we need to see how we can find equivalent fractions without our fraction bars. So did you notice the relationship between the numbers, especially between the numerators and the denominators? You can use multiplying or dividing to find equivalent fractions. For example, 1/2 is equivalent to some number of fourths. We need to find that missing number. Look at the denominators. I have a 2 and a 4. Ask yourself, how did I get from 2 to 4? Exactly, you multiplied by 2. Now you will do the same thing to the numerator. So 1 times 2 is equal to 2, which means that 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4. And I know that may seem confusing, but let's write some down and try it. Okay, watch me do this one. I'm going to put my numbers in a column, and I'm going to put my 2/5 is equivalent to some number of tenths. Now I need to ask myself, how am I getting from 5 to 10? I know that 5 times 2 equals 10, so therefore I have to do the same thing to my numerator. I have to be fair, and so 2 times 2 is 4. So this shows me that 2/5 is equivalent to 4/10, and you can check on your fraction bar sheet to see if that is correct. Alright, I'd like for you to try this one. First of all, put them in a column. 1/3 is equivalent to some number of 6. We're trying to find that missing number. Don't forget to ask yourself, how are you getting from 3 to 6? And whatever you do to the denominator, you have to do the same to the numerator. So pause the video, see if you can find this missing number. Do this one on your guided practice sheet. Alright, let's see how that went. How did you get from 3 to 6? If you said multiply, you are absolutely right. You multiplied it by 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Now if you multiply the denominator by 2, you have to be fair and do the same thing to the numerator. And 1 times 2 is 2. Therefore, 1/3 is equivalent to 2/6. Was that your answer? Great job, boys and girls. All right, let's try one more. This time you will use division. And if you'll notice, the denominator is missing a number this time, but we do exactly the same thing. So our first fraction is 6/10, and we want to find 6/10 is equivalent to 3 something. All right, so ask yourself, how did you get from 6 down to a 3? And then do the same thing to the denominator. So pause the video and use division to solve this one. Okay, let's see. How did you get from 6 down to a 3? You're right. You divided by 2, which gave you 3. So I have to do the same thing to the denominator. I have to divide it by 2. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. So I can see that 6/10 is equivalent to 3/5. I'm going to write 3 problems on here that I would like for you to do on your guided practice sheet in the practice section. I want you to find the missing numerator or denominator by using multiplying or dividing. Okay, your first one is going to be 4/5 is equivalent to some number of 15ths. The next one says 4/8 is equivalent to some number of 16ths. And the third one is 4/12 is equivalent to some number of thirds. Okay, so I'd like for you to use multiplying or dividing to complete these problems on your guided practice sheet. So pause the video and solve those, and we'll check these in class tomorrow. Have a great evening. Boys and girls, I almost forgot one last part. If you would summarize what you have learned today about equivalent fractions, and then write down any questions that you may have after watching this video. Have a great evening, and I will see you in class tomorrow.